Okay, so we're going to walk through some ACT questions from the December 2024 test. Okay, let's start with, I just picked a few questions that I think are pretty important for students to know, and so we'll just walk through them. A circle centered at F with a diameter of EB is shown below. The measure of BFC is 18 degrees, so right about here is 18 degrees, and the measure of CFD is 108 degrees. If AFB is a right angle, AFB is a right angle, what is the measure in degrees of DEA? DEA. So that's going to be right here. So some things for us to take note of. If this is a right angle and this is a diameter, this is also going to be 90 degrees over here. And we have, this is a straight line. So this is going to be, let's call this X right here. So X plus 108 plus 18 is going to be equal to 180 degrees. So X plus 126, let's not forget our symbols here, equal to 180 degrees. So X is going to be 180 degrees minus 126 degrees. This is going to be 54 degrees. But we're looking for DEA. DEA. Okay, so DEA is going to be from here to here. So that's going to be this angle. So DEA is going to be 54 degrees plus 90 degrees, and that is 144 degrees. That's B right here. Let's go over to the next one. Which of the following expressions gives the number of revolutions a tire with a diameter of d feet will make in a trip m miles long? So when we talk about revolution, we have to remember that we're talking about going around the circle. So that is going to be circumference. So for a circle, the circumference is going to be 2 pi r or pi multiplied by diameter. So therefore, we know that one revolution is going to be equal to pi multiplied by d. And this is in feet. And we're saying that the trip is m miles long. So 1 mile is going to be 5,280 feet. So m miles is going to be 5,280 m. So that is the distance that is going to be traveled. This is one revolution. So for us to get the number of revolutions is going to be number of miles divided by the length of a revolution, which is going to be 5,280 m divided by pi d. So that is going to be our answer. Let's go to the next question. Which of the following pairs is the solution for the system? Okay, when we say solution for the system, let's go ahead and just write out our system. X plus 2y equal to 8. Negative 2x plus y equal to 14. So what are we going to do here? We are going to try to see what we can actually just use substitution here. This is going to be a lot easier. I always prefer to use substitution when if the coefficient of one of the terms is 1. So I can come over here and say that based on this equation here, x is going to be 8 minus 2y. So now I'm going to take this value and substitute that into this equation. So it's negative 2, 8 minus 2y plus y equal to 14. So let's go ahead and simplify this. Negative 16 plus 4y plus y equal to 14. So now we're going to move 16 over to the other side. So 5y is going to be equal to 30 and y equal to 6. If y equal to 6, so when you're doing a test like this, when you get a value, just check the different answer choices and see which one, if there's a value that matches what you're looking for. And I can see here that y equal to 6 only shows up in this answer choice, so I don't need to go further. Remember, I have only 1 minute to answer questions, so the faster you can get through this, the better. So given that h of z is equal to negative 5z plus 8 and g of z equal to negative 2z squared plus 2z plus 8, what is h plus g of z? Okay, that's pretty simple. H plus g is just simply telling us to add the functions together. So minus 5z plus 8 minus, let's say plus, let's open up a parenthesis here, negative 2z squared plus 2z plus 8. So this is going to be negative 5z plus 8 minus 2z squared plus 2z plus 8. So let's group common terms together. Negative 2z squared minus 5z plus 2z plus 8 plus 8. So negative 2z squared minus 3z plus 16. That's going to be that. Next one, for an angle with a measure of alpha in a right triangle. So this one has some interesting things. It says sine alpha is that, tan alpha is that. What is the value of cosine alpha? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA. Just as a point of note, if you're taking the ACT and you are going to work with right triangles, once you see angles in that question, the first thing you have to think about is SOHCAHTOA. So let's look at alpha here. I'm going to write my alpha right here. So sine alpha, remember we have SOHCAHTOA. Let me write it here. SOHCAHTOA. So it's sine opposite side to the angle divided by the hypotenuse. So the opposite side is 144. The hypotenuse is 145. And tan is opposite divided by adjacent. Adjacent here is 17. So you notice here with this, I don't even have to bother trying to use Pythagoras theorem to find the missing side. The information is provided already. So now we want to find cosine of alpha. Cosine is the adjacent side to the angle. So cosine alpha, adjacent side to the angle is 17 divided by 145. Very simple. It never hurts when you're taking any exam like the SAT or the ACT, when you see questions that you can't make out, just make it a habit to draw something so you can see what's going on. Okay, so here it says a spinner has 10 congruent sectors that have alternating shading and are numbered 1 through 10 as shown below. The pointer is spun. Given that the pointer stops in a shaded sector, so let's count how many shaded sectors we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 shaded sectors. I'm going to take note of that. It's probably important. Let's use sectors here. What is the probability that the pointer stops in a sector that is a multiple of 3? So how many sectors that are shaded are multiples of 3? We have this one right here and this one right here. So there are 2 sectors that are multiple of 3 and there are only 5 shaded sectors. So that's how you work through that. So try rectangle EFGH with vertices at -1, 3. So that's E right here, -1, 3, and 2, 3 right here. So let's find the length here. From here to here is -1. So this is going to be 3 units here. And then 2, -1, 2, -1 right here, and -1, -1. So we have 2, -1 right here, and then -1, -1 right here. So we're going to find, we found the width. Let's find the length or the height here. Let's use the length here of the triangle, of the rectangle, sorry. So we have here, at this point, this is going to be 3. This is going to be -1. So this is going to be 4 units. So the area of, because it's asking what percent of the rectangle's area lies in quadrant 4. So what are we really looking for? We're looking for the percent of the rectangle that represents this, that this area represents. So let's go ahead and find the area of the rectangle. So the area is length multiplied by width, which is 3 multiplied by 4, and that is 12. Now we need to find the area of this small rectangle right here in the fourth quadrant. So this is going to be 0 here, from 0 to 3, so that is 3 right here. Oh, no, from 0 to 2 is going to be right here. And then this is from -1 to 0, that is 1. So the area, let's call this uppercase X. So area of X is 2 multiplied by 1, which is equal to 2. So we now have the percent is going to be 2 divided by 12. And this is going to be X over 100. Or you can say multiply by 100. Doesn't matter. So let's make this simpler. 1 over 6. And so 6x equal to 100 divided by 6. We have x equal to 50 over 3, which is going to be 16.67 or something, or 16 2/3. Okay. So first of all, I know it's 16, so I'm just going to look for 16, and then the fraction will take care of itself. But if you know the fraction, go for it. If you're not sure, then you can use this method. So here it says the chocolate mousse lodge sells gift boxes of chocolates. The actual cardboard box is free, and there is a fixed cost for each gourmet chocolate and another fixed cost for each premier chocolate in each gift box. A gift box with 5 gourmet chocolates and 10 premier chocolates costs $30.35. Okay, I already can see that this is a system. So this is 5 gourmet plus 5 premier equal to 30.35. And a gift box with 6 gourmet chocolates and 6 premier chocolates costs $22.68. 6 gourmet. Actually, we have 10 premier in the first one. So let's make sure we're right here. So we have 10 premier. 6 gourmet plus 6 premier is equal to $22.68. Now we're taking, this is the ACT. I know you're allowed to use a calculator, but I always like to simplify equations. So I'm going to divide this whole thing here by 5, and then divide this whole thing here by 6. They are common factors. So we have G plus 2P equal to 6.07. And then we have G plus P equal to 3.78. So let's figure out the cost of a premier chocolate. So we just subtract. So the premier is going to be equal to, we subtract right here. This is 9, this is 2, this is 2. So premier is $2.29. And then gourmet is going to be subtracting this. So this is going to be $1.49. So now what is the cost of a gift box with 2 gourmet and 1 premier? 2 gourmet, so let's multiply this by 2. So this is going to be $2.98 plus $2.29, 725, $527. Next question. In the figure below, K1 and K2 are parallel lines and W and X are points on K1 and K2. In the same plane, point Z lies between K1 and K2 and some angle measures are given. What is the degree measure of X, Z, W? So this right here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to first find this angle right here, because this right here, let's draw a dotted line. This is a common type of ACT question. So once you see this, once you've seen a few of them, you'll kind of get what they're really getting at. So this is 33 degrees here, because this is a straight line and the angle's in a straight line. This is a straight angle here. So it's going to be 180. So these are supplementary angles. So this is going to be 33 right here. And this is going to be 37 right here. So Z is going to be the sum of both. So Z is 33 degrees plus 37 degrees, which is 70 degrees right here. Okay, next one. It says a net of a square pyramid with four congruent triangular sides is shown below in the standard XY coordinate plane. Points A, B, and C are vertices of the net. Okay, makes sense. What is the total surface area in square coordinate points of the pyramid? Total surface area is going to be the area of every surface. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 surfaces. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the area of one rectangle, multiply that by 4. Sorry, the area of one triangle, multiply that by 4, 1, and then add it to the area of the square. So let's find the area of the square. That's probably the easiest one to do. So we have from 2 here to 211 to 1211. So the square has a length of 10 units. So side is 10 units. So the area here is going to be 100. So the next thing we're going to do here is try to figure out we're going to find the length here. So let's go ahead and we're using the distance formula. And the distance formula states that between 2 points, the distance between those 2 points is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That's your distance. So we're going to have, so d here is going to be the square root of 12 minus 24, that's negative 12 squared, plus 11 minus 6, 5 squared. So this is going to be square root of, so d here is going to be the square root of 144 plus 25, which is square root of 169, and that is 13. So if this is 13, so here's what we're going to be working with. If this is 13, we're going to draw a dotted line to get our altitude. Remember, area of a rectangle is half base times height. So let's draw the altitude right here. I can already tell you that this is 5. If this is 13, this is going to be 12. We can already see that here. 12, 5, 13. So we have 5 here and also 5 here. So the area of triangle is half base times height, which is 1/2 multiplied by the base is 10, the height is 12. And because we have 4 of them, we're going to multiply this by 4. So this is going to be 240. So therefore, the surface area is going to be 100 plus 240, which is going to be 340. And that's going to be our answer right here. Okay, it says let the function f be defined by f of x is 4x plus 3. Let function g be defined by g of x equal to negative 4x squared plus 10x plus 1. The graphs of y equal to f of x and intersect. So when two graphs intersect, it means that they have points that are common. So they're equal to each other. So we can say here, negative 4x squared plus 10x plus 1 equal to 4x plus 3. And we're going to write this in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So we're going to move 4x over here. So we have negative 4x squared plus 10x minus 4x plus 1 minus 3 equal to 0. So negative 4x squared plus 6x minus 2 equal to 0. And I'm going to go, because we have 0 here, let's go ahead and multiply everything by negative, actually divide everything by negative 2. So we're going to have 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 equal to 0. So we're looking for 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. We're looking for the sum of, we're looking for sum of 2 factors of 2 that give us a sum of negative 3. So that's going to be 2x squared minus 2x minus x plus 1 equal to 0. And now we're going to factor by grouping. So let's group this and then group this. So now we have 2x, x minus 1, minus 1, x minus 1 equal to 0. So 2x minus 1 and then x minus 1 equal to 0. So 2x minus 1 is 0, x equal to 1 half. X minus 1 is 0, x equal to 1. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look for the easiest way to go about this. This 4x plus 3, we're going to sub each of these values into 4x plus 3 and see which answer choice matches which of our points would match what is in the answer choices. So x equal to 1 half, 4x is going to be 2, and then plus 3, 5. So we're going to have 1 half 5. That doesn't exist here. So let's look for 4 multiplied by 1 is 4 plus 3, 7. 1, 7. So that's going to be the better answer. Consider the function f defined by f of x equal to negative 1/3 x minus 5. With this domain, what is the range? So the easiest thing to do here is just plug in the values in the domain into the function and see what you get for your possible ranges. So negative 1/3 multiplied by negative 6 minus 5. This is going to be 2 minus 5, which is negative 3. And then negative 1/3 multiplied by 9 minus 5. This is negative 3 minus 5, negative 8. So remember that when you're trying to express your range of values, you're always going to start from the least to the greatest, or from the lowest to the higher one, the lower to the higher one. So it's going to be from negative 8 to negative 3. So that is going to be right here. So the next one here, it says for the square root of negative 1 equal to I, and for certain real numbers a and b, the equation 10 minus I plus 8 plus 6i is a plus bi is true. What is the value of ab? Okay, let's go ahead and simplify this. 10 minus I plus 8 plus 6i. Let's group common terms together. 10 plus 8 minus I plus 6i. 18 plus 5i. So this is going to be a plus bi. So a is 18, b is 5. Now it's asking us for the value of ab, which is 18 multiplied by 5, 90. Okay, the next one here, this is a very interesting question here. It says in the figure below, AB is parallel to CE. All right. ABF is 30. The lines AGBFC intersect at D. If it can be determined, what is the measure of angle ADC? So if I look at this is 30 right here. This is going to be 30. So in order for us to get this angle, we need to know what this is right here. And you can see here that we don't really have enough information to get us to a point where we can even find the value of this angle or even a value for D. If we had a value for D, it'll probably be easier to figure out what this missing angle is going to be. So I'm going to say here that we do not have enough information to get that value. Which of the following values is equal to the remainder. All right. So when you have, this is what we call the remainder theorem. Remainder theorem. It says here generally that if a function can be divided by x minus a, then f of a is 0. So here we have x minus 1. So if it can be divided by x minus a, f of a is 0. Also, it says that if a function f of x is divided by x minus a, then f of a represents the remainder of that function. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and plug 1 into this function here. So it's going to be f of 1 is going to be 1 to the power of 7 minus 1 to the power of 6 minus 2, 1 to the power of 4 plus 2, 1 to the power of 3 plus 1 minus 1. Let's go ahead and solve. This is 1 minus 1 minus 2 plus 2 plus 1 minus 1. So 0, 0, 0. So this is going to be 0. The answer is C. So one of the following is a hyperbola. Before you have to know these functions really. You want to know parabola, circle, hyperbola, ellipse. So here, this is what a hyperbola looks like right here. There's not much else to this one. Okay, so it says let A, B, C, and D be real numbers greater than or equal to 2. 4 functions are listed below, the values of which of the listed functions will exceed the value of all the other listed functions as x approaches infinity. So here you can see this is limited to the 3rd degree, this is 2nd degree, and this is a linear function. This here is your exponential function, and we know that the exponential function really gets large as it approaches infinity. So this definitely will be the best answer here. Okay, Shakira and Julia have completed a typing class. The table below gives the typing speeds in watts per minute on different days during the 99-day class. Note the typing speed of each student in the class was measured at the end of each of the days in the table. Okay, to the nearest 1%, what is the percentage increase in Julia's typing speed from the first day of class to the 99th day of class? So we're looking at the growth from 35 to 55. So let's see, how do we go about that? Let's find the difference. The difference is 20. The starting point is 35 multiplied by 100. Let's go ahead and do this. This is 7. This is 400 divided by 7, which is going to be roughly 57.1. So your answer is going to be D. A straight line through the point with xy coordinates -1, 1. So -1, 1 has a slope of 2 and also contains point 3D. So let's get our slope. The slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we're told our slope is 2. So 2 equal to y2 minus y1 d minus 1 over 3 minus -1. So we have 2 equal to d minus 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. D minus 1 equal to 8 because we're going to cross product. And D is equal to 9. Right here. And then we have this one right here. In the standard XY coordinate plane, an angle with measure alpha is in standard position and the point -37. So let's just draw this. Negative 3 is 7, so that's going to be right here. So we're going to do it right here, and let's draw. And the point negative 3, 7 is on the terminal side of the angle. What is cosine of alpha? So let's go ahead and do this. So this here is negative 3, 7. So that means this is negative 3 here, and this is 7. We're trying to find, remember that your angle always forms with the x-axis. It never forms with the y-axis. If you're trying to find a reference angle, it's always going to be with your x-axis. So now we want to find cosine, and we know that cosine, SOHCAHTOA, we need adjacent, which is negative 3 here, and then we need to know this right here. So let's call this C over here. So C squared is A squared plus B squared. And because we're dealing with lengths, we just ignore the negative on the 3, which is going to be 3 squared plus 7 squared, which is going to be 9 plus 49, 58. So C is the square root of 58. Now, what do we need to do? We need to figure out which of these is the best. I can already see that my cosine is going to be negative 3 over C. Negative 3 over square root of 58. That is B. And let's do one more. It says the real numbers A and B are unknown. It is known that A is less than 0. B is also less than 0. But A over B is less than 1. So what this simply tells us, because we know that we're dividing two negative numbers, so the absolute value of A must be less than the absolute value of B, which simply tells you that A as a value is greater than B. So let's pick any value of A, and we can start with 1 and 2. So A is going to be negative 1, B is negative 2. So we are going to now put that in here. A minus B, A is negative 1 minus negative 2, negative 1 plus 2, which is equal to 1. So let's use this to see if we can eliminate some answer choices. Less than 0, no. Less than or equal to 0, no. Less than or equal to 1, potentially. Greater than 0, potentially. Greater than or equal to 1, potentially. So let's try another number. Let's go negative 3 greater than negative 5. So this is going to, A minus B is going to be negative 3 minus negative 5, which is negative 3 plus 5, and this is 2. So greater than 0, definitely. Less than or equal to 1, nope. Greater than or equal to 1, not necessarily. I mean, this is a good answer. It's not necessarily greater than or equal to 1, because we can see instances where it's 1, we can see instances where it's greater than 1. So this is not, you could fall for this as a possible answer choice, but the best answer choice that satisfies both scenarios is that our value is greater than 0. So this is pretty much how you answer this type of questions. These are very common questions on the ACT. So just take note. If you start solving through the problem and you're not 100% sure of your answer, just try a different set of numbers. If the second one doesn't really give you, you can try about three sets of numbers. That will give you. Now, we went with mostly numbers that are small. If you feel like these are not good enough, you can go to maybe double-digit numbers if that works for you, if you can handle those quickly. But remember, the most important thing is that you spend not too long on any question, and try to be as accurate as possible. All right, that's it for now. So if you like what I've shown you so far, feel free to subscribe to the channel and drop a comment if there's something you'd like to know, something that maybe you have taken the ACT and there's some types of questions that tripped you up and you can't really find a good way to answer them, feel free to drop me a message, and I'll be happy to get that to you and walk through it and show you some shortcuts, some tips, some tricks, so that you can be successful on your next ACT exam. All right, that's it for now. Bye.